Good morning. Glad you all could come to our very first session in the morning, especially after nights of wonderful parties we've had. My name's Ross Smith. I'm joined with two other great people. I'll let them introduce themselves if they want.
I'm Tali Roth.
And I'm Daniel Emerson.
We're all PMs associated with either Outlook Mobile or Intune, or Office 365, as I do many hats. And today we're going to talk about Outlook Mobile in the enterprise. We're going to cover a number of scenarios. First and foremost, we want to go through what the Outlook app does. How many of you use Outlook Mobile today? All right. So a majority of you already know what Outlook Mobile is. Excellent. We like that. I'm going to cover what we're doing in terms of how Outlook Mobile, and when we say Outlook Mobile, we mean Outlook for iOS or Outlook for Android. Cover it for Exchange Online and what we're doing for Exchange on-premises mailboxes. How many of you are Exchange Online customers? And how many of you are Exchange on-premises? Okay. All right. Excellent. Then we'll talk about how we're going to secure that corporate data of yours. And then finally, if we have time, we will cover a roadmap and answer questions. I always like to begin talking about Outlook Mobile around this key slogan, loved by users, trusted by IT. What I mean by that is the fact that we have delivered a mobile app that is fast and efficient for doing all of your mobile messaging needs, calendaring, contacts, messaging. It's all there, and it does it in a way that is designed specifically for the mobile platform so that you get to do the data, you get the data that you need fast. And it's built not only just for your consumer data, but also for your corporate persona, so that you can seamlessly switch between either one and manage your entire day, whether that's picking up the kids for soccer or making that 1 p.m. afternoon call. And of course, we have this trusted by IT aspect, the fact that our IT love the Outlook app because we have all this great protection features built into it to ensure that that corporate data does not leak out into the personal sphere. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tali to do a demo.
Awesome. So let's switch this over. Hi, everybody. So again, my name's Tali. I am a lead program manager on the Outlook Mobile team. And while Ross is going to talk to you about how to deploy Outlook Mobile and Daniel's going to talk to you about how to secure it with Intune, I have the privilege of showing off some of the features that we've shipped over the last year that we're really excited to share with you, as well as giving you a sneak peek of a couple things that are coming really soon. So I'm going to start on Android because while our team has certainly been working on adding new features and functionality, the number one thing that we've heard from you guys is that we need to focus on reliability and performance. And so the Android app in particular has come a long way in the last year. We feel like it's in a really great spot, but we're going to keep working to make it better. And so I want to start my demo off on Android. So as you can see here, I'm in my inbox. Actually, I'm in my Ignite folder because I have a bunch of special mails in here to take a look at. And I wanted to show you our brand new conversation experience. Many of you might know that we shipped a new conversation experience in iOS. It's going to be coming soon to Android as well. And in Android in particular, we completely rewrote the reading pane so that with a focus on performance and ease of consumption, so that when you're going through, it's really easy to see who said what to whom. It's really smooth to scroll through it. And I hope some folks will be happy that we've brought back swipe between messages so that as you're going through your folder, you can just swipe through. Oh, I got one, a hand clap. Thank you. I also, we're also really excited about the ability to make it easy to respond. So when I reply here, one of the things I can do is use what we call @mentions to @mention people. So in this case, I can add @mention Ross and say, can you take care of this? That does a couple of things. So when I do that, Ross is going to get an email that looks kind of like this. So let me show you what it looks like on my end. I'm using my colleague Lexi's phone here, so all the things that say to Lexi, pretend that's me. So here on this top mail, this is a mail where I, Lexi, have been @mentioned. And you can see a couple things. I want to point out the little @ sticker that we have sort of to the right. So when the mail is unread, an @ shows up to let me know that someone wants to call my attention specifically to something in the mail. Another thing that we do, if you look at the preview line, that preview line isn't actually the first line of the message. In fact, it's not even the first line of the most recent message. It's actually the line where I was @mentioned. So just scanning my inbox, I have a really good sense of what it is that I might need to do. So when I go in here, I also can go and see in the reading pane as well, my name is highlighted in blue, so I can go quickly and see it. When Lexi @mentioned me, if I wasn't on the to line already, I would have been added. And so this is a really great experience and a great way to call people's attention to a particular task that you want them to take. I'm now going to switch back to iOS for a second. Maybe. There we go. Okay. And show off sort of the next step of this experience. So as I said, we've made it really easy to reply, but in iOS, we've made it even easier, and this feature is currently in development on Android as well. So here is the same conversation between Lexi and Tali. And instead of having to go and reply and go to a totally different screen, I'm able to reply right here in line with the content right above me so that I can easily see the context of what I'm doing. And replying is as simple as typing on an iPhone, which I never do because I'm an Android user, and it's right there. So, okay, great. I'm going to go back to Android again. And I want to show you guys the work that we've done to make it easier to switch between accounts. So we've updated the left nav both on iOS and Android. It's out in iOS, it's rolling out on Android right now to make it much easier to switch between your different accounts. You can see here I have a Gmail, an Outlook.com account, and an O365 account. And switching between them is super fast. I even have a pro tip for those of you who are folder users. If you long press, you can actually keep the drawer open so that you can easily get to your folders below. And you can see we've made it excellent. That's 2. Will you keep track? One other thing that you can do from this new left nav is really easily find your groups. And so here I'm going to my O365 groups, and I have a simple way to go and read all the messages from my Android scheduling assistant group or whatever it might be. Awesome. So now I'm going to go to another major part of our app, which of course is calendar. Here we've got our Android calendar, and we are in the process of rolling out a new feature that makes it super easy to schedule meetings with multiple people. So I want to just kind of walk through how fast it is to do this. Here I'm going to do coffee with Daniel and Ross. You can see when I typed coffee, that little coffee emoticon came up. If I'd typed dinner or other things, we have a bunch of little emoticons that show up. It's a small thing, but it's a kind of fun delighter. Here, when I add Daniel and Ross, I can add them, and you can see right here, sorry, that's the location. You can see this little person with an X right there in the time. When I open up the time, I actually can see my availability as well as Ross, he's the Yoda, and Daniel's availability right here on screen. And I can really easily see that there's no availability on this day. So if I switch to, I'm going to switch to a Saturday just for ease. Here it's pretty clear. Everybody's free. I can book our coffee at 11 o'clock on Saturday. You guys in?
Sounds great.
Okay. I'm also able to really easily add a repeating event if we want to have coffee every Saturday. Again, pretty fun. And I can add a location and Skype meeting too. So this shipped on iOS a while ago, but we actually took a bunch of feedback to try to make it even simpler and better on Android. It's rolling out to Android this week. Lexi's the PM for it. So you guys will start seeing it soon. We'd love feedback on it because we want to take the best of what we did in Android and bring that to iOS too. The last thing I want to show you on calendar is that we have just turned on the ability for me to now go share my calendars. So you can see my O365 calendar, or Lexi's O365 calendar, is currently shared with Michael and me. And it's really easy for me to actually add people here, whether I need someone to be a delegate or someone who just needs a shared calendar. So this is a feature that just rolled out recently as well across both iOS and Android, and makes it super easy to add somebody, and I can let them view or edit or just read. And it gives us all those options. So I'm going to switch to, while it's updating permissions, I'm going to switch back to iOS to just show you a sneak peek of something that's coming soon. So this actually just shipped to our test flight users on iOS the last week or so, and it's going to be shipping to production, starting to roll out to production this week, coming to Android in the next, hopefully, month or so. I've been playing with it a lot on my Android phone, so it's getting there. And this is our new search experience. So we know that when people come to Outlook Mobile, they do a few different things. One, they're obviously reading and replying to email. Two, they're going to their calendar to figure out what they need to do next and schedule their time. And three, they're coming in to find information. Email is a great repository for stuff, and we know that search is a really core functionality. And so what we've done is we've actually totally redesigned the Outlook nav pane so that it is focused on those three functions. You can see we've got mail, calendar, and search. And when I go to search, we've built what we call our zero query page. The idea is this page is powered by a bunch of different intelligent sources that are just going to get smarter and smarter over time as we hook up more Bing and Cortana power. And this page is where we're going to try to figure out how to help you find the things that we think you might be looking for. So the first thing that you see is a list of my top contacts. Now, it happens that we know that when people come to search, one of the top things that they search for is people. And when they do that, they're looking to search, they're looking to find a particular person or email from a particular person. And so when I tap on Michael, I have this experience where now I can see either Michael's contact card, that's up here, or I can also see all the emails and stuff that I've sent back and forth with him. And I can also sort by attachments or not. So that part's pretty cool. We also down at the bottom here have files that are recent files that you had in your email. Again, here's a bunch of files having to do with Ignite that I have recently been working with Lexi on, and so they're showing up right here. It's really easy for me to find them. And my favorite part, I think you guys saw a lot of tailored experiences cards in the keynotes earlier, and one of the things we found is that those tailored experiences are there to talk to you about things that are coming up. When I know when I'm traveling, one of the things that I do most is I go and look for my flight reservation and information because I need to check in or do whatever. Well, here we put your TXP cards for upcoming events right here. And so here is my stay at the Marriott for Ignite and my flight to Orlando. If I were to actually click on one of those, I'd be able to actually see the mail that got sent to me with the TXP card right there. And so we really think this new search experience is going to help make things faster, and you should expect to see this roll out soon and then more of these intelligent slabs come into play moving forward. So thank you guys very much. I'm going to hand it off to Ross.
Thanks. We love it when demos actually work, right? It's a great experience. So now we're going to talk about how you use Outlook Mobile with Exchange Online. Last year at Ignite, we announced our cloud architecture, which is we moved from Amazon Web Services to the Microsoft Cloud for certain subset of Office 365 users. This cloud architecture looks like that diagram that I've drawn on that PowerPoint slide. We have your mailbox data located within your Exchange Online tenant. And we have an Outlook client. The Outlook mobile client connects to the Microsoft Cloud using a proprietary device API. And it connects to an Azure instance. And within that Azure instance, we have a protocol translation service. That protocol translation service takes that proprietary device API and converts it into an API that Exchange Online understands. In this case, the REST API. And we access your data natively, wherever that mailbox is located within Office 365. If that mailbox is located in Australia, then we're accessing that data directly from the data center in Australia where your mailbox is located, on the mailbox server hosting the active copy. So no more caching of data anywhere in this particular architecture. We access it directly, and it works beautifully because now we no longer have to worry about any delays. Whatever data is in your mailbox is exposed to the client, and it's all protected via TLS. From the architecture perspective of which Office 365 scenarios we support, today we're supporting business, enterprise, and education SKUs of Office 365. There are other SKUs of Office 365 that currently are not supported with Outlook Mobile. Those include Office 365 for China, Office 365 for Germany, Office 365 for Department of Defense, and other unique instances that are isolated instances of Office 365 with their own identity and Azure clouds. I will call out that if you're a legacy dedicated customer, that's considered an on-premises type of environment. When you move to the dedicated vNext architecture, you will then be in the enterprise, business, and education scenario, and thus be a true cloud type of scenario. The one caveat that we'll call out, we do support Office 365 for government community cloud. Do we have any of you in the audience, government community cloud customers? Okay, we got one that I saw.
There's another.
Was there more?
Yep.
Excellent. For those, government community cloud is another unique instance of Office 365. However, we have done some work there to facilitate the use of Outlook Mobile with the government community cloud. In particular, the problem we have today is that we do not handle the full data handling requirements necessary for the government community cloud because we don't have our protocol translation instance within the government community cloud of Azure. But we have the ability to allow government community cloud customers to connect through the public Azure instance to be able to utilize Outlook Mobile. So if you're interested in Outlook Mobile, you can sign a waiver and be able to access your data through the government community cloud in that fashion. Since the Azure instance is a stateless scenario and there's no data caching, that has been acceptable to over 1,900 government community cloud customer domains as of now. So you wouldn't be the only ones across state, local, and federal institutions. There's always a question that comes up around authentication and what type of authentication model is used by Outlook Mobile. Outlook Mobile is a modern authentication-enabled client. For the people who don't know what we mean by that fancy marketing term of modern authentication, that is an OAuth is the authentication protocol, where we use an identity solution to authorize the user to have access via a token. That happens independently of whether you have enabled OAuth for Outlook 2013 or Outlook 2016 via the OAuth 2 client profile enabled parameter in Exchange Online. And we will do that. We will always use OAuth for Outlook Mobile in this scenario. This enables advanced scenarios for us because now we can support multi-factor authentication through the identity solution. In the demo we're showing right here, you're having multi-factor off because you have to use the Authenticator app to gain access to the data and gain your token. We also support, OAuth also enables us to support single sign-on, so that once an OAuth token is granted, all of the Microsoft apps that are modern authenticated enabled via the Active Directory authentication library that's included can utilize those OAuth tokens to gain access so that you don't have to authenticate multiple times in each separate app. How the authentication works is as simple as this diagram. What happens is the client will attempt to authenticate against Azure Active Directory. In this scenario, I chose to do federated identity. How many of you are federated identity models? Okay, that's why I chose this model, because it's the prevalent model for most enterprises. We do talk about cloud identity and the other identity types. I have slides hidden in the deck that go through those scenarios as well if you're one of those. But for the federated identity case, we will attempt to authenticate against Azure Active Directory for your Office 365 mailbox. Azure Active Directory knows that you have a federated identity model. We'll issue a endpoint redirection to your on-premises identity provider. That on-premises identity provider could be ADFS. It could be a third-party solution like Ping or Okta or any other number of identity providers that support federated endpoint redirects in OAuth as an authentication mechanism. ADFS, in this case, as in the diagram, will authenticate that user via whatever variety of configurations you have established that enable that authentication, issue a logon token. That logon token is provided back to the client, and then the client provides the logon token to Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory will then generate an access and refresh token pair, granting access for the particular services the client is requesting. The client then hands off that OAuth token to our Azure stateless protocol translator, which passes that token to Exchange Online. The token's validated, and the data is provided to the client. We also support certificate-based authentication. How many of you are interested in certificate-based authentication? Okay, a number of hands. Interesting. All right, so with certificate-based authentication, we have a few key requirements. First and foremost, we do require a federated identity model. You must have an on-premises identity solution like ADFS deployed. You also need some mechanism of deploying the user certificate to the device. Typically, that's through an MDM enrollment process. It doesn't require one, but you need some solution to get a user certificate. However you choose to get that is essentially irrelevant to Outlook Mobile's case. What happens, and then from a client perspective, for Android, we just require you to meet the minimum Android OS requirements. For iOS, there is a specific additional requirement in that you must install the Microsoft Authenticator app. The reason for that is because on iOS, the certificate store is locked down by Apple, and they require apps to be registered to be able to access the certificate store. And the Microsoft Authenticator app is one such broker service that is registered to be able to access the broker service, the certificate store. How this flow works is very similar to the prior flow that I talked about. The user who has an MDM enrolled device is, with the certificate deployed, is going to attempt to access Outlook. Outlook, in this case, if we're talking about an iOS device, is going to access the broker to attempt to authenticate that particular user. The broker is going to ask Azure Active Directory for an authentication. Azure Active Directory will initiate the federated endpoint redirection to the on-premises identity provider. The Microsoft Authenticator app, or the broker service in this case, will then pass the user certificate to Active Directory Federation Services, and we will be issued a logon token with details about that certificate and how that certificate can be revocated in the event that we need to remove that particular device from authentication. We are then provided that logon token back. That's handed off to Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory generates the access token pair, provides that back to the broker service, and Outlook happily connects and accesses, like I showed in the previous demo. So let's talk about what we're doing in on-premises space. So we're going to begin by talking about Outlook Mobile with a hybrid scenario where you want to leverage our Enterprise Mobility and Security Suite, which includes Intune and Azure Active Directory Conditional Access. So the key thing here, the slide looks slightly different than the prior slide I showed on the architecture for an Office 365 mailbox. The difference is we have an on-premises Exchange server in play. As you may or may not be aware, the Outlook mobile client has always been built to be a cloud-aware application and to always take advantage of the cloud to offload processing and provide enhanced experiences that we couldn't otherwise deliver if it did not have some sort of common solution for providing data access. That solution for us is Office 365 and Exchange Online in particular. So what we're doing in this case is we will have a hybrid relationship with your on-premises environment so that you have a tenant within Exchange Online. And when an Outlook Mobile on-premises user wants to use Outlook Mobile, we're going to synchronize a subset of that user data into Exchange Online and access the data from Exchange Online directly, as opposed to having Outlook Mobile attempt to connect to your on-premises environment. So from a device connectivity perspective, Outlook Mobile uses its proprietary device API to connect to Azure to our stateless protocol translator, which then converts that to a REST call to talk to Exchange Online, wherever that data is in your particular tenant geography. And behind the scenes, we're synchronizing your data through an active sync connection from to on-premises. This enables a number of benefits for us. One, we get to use Azure Active Directory, which means we can support OAuth, which also means we can support conditional access and Intune for Intune app protection in particular. So we're all now cloud-focused. We don't require the Intune connector, for example, for device management in this case, because we're managing it all from within the Microsoft Cloud stack. One clap. Yes. But there are some requirements to this. Obviously, hybrid is a key requirement to this scenario. You must have the appropriate EMS and Office 365 Pro Plus licenses. As you may or may not be aware, Outlook Mobile and the rest of the Office Mobile products require an actual commercial use license of Office 365 Pro Plus to utilize. So you will need a license for that particular client. You need, for our hybrid directory connection, we require a full hybrid configuration wizard configuration, not the minimal hybrid configuration wizard. That's because minimal versus full, one of the key differences is minimal does not set up OAuth and all the OAuth endpoints that we need to access. The full hybrid configuration wizard does do that for us. The other key thing is you need to set up Azure Active Directory Connect or AAD Connect and do a full directory synchronization, and including certain attributes, the most common ones that is required for Exchange Online. We'll have all that documented as well in detail. You also need to have your Auto Discover and Exchange Active Sync namespaces accessible from the internet. And there's a keyword that we'll go into in the next slide around what I mean by anonymous. It has to do with OAuth authentication. And then last but not least, the on-premises Exchange version requirements. How many of you are still Exchange 2010 or have 2010 in the environment? Yeah, okay. Exchange 2010 does not support OAuth, and Exchange 2010 is out of mainstream support. That poses a problem for you. You have to get off Exchange 2010. Exchange 2010, when fronted behind Exchange 2013 or Exchange 2016, could advertise support for OAuth, and that client would end up in a very bad state, regardless if you're using Outlook Mac, Outlook for desktop, or Outlook Mobile. So that's the key reason why we're not supporting Exchange 2010 in the environment. It must be completely removed. You must be on Exchange 2013 or Exchange 2016. And in particular, there are cumulative update requirements, the CU17 and CU6, respectively, which were released in June of this past calendar year. Or this calendar year, I should say, not last calendar year. What data do we synchronize? We synchronize 4 weeks of message data, your out-of-office settings, all of your calendar, and all of your contacts. Now, what happens if you need to find something that isn't in this set of data? Well, we support directory search because you're doing your full directory synchronization. So we can do that. We also have built a feature that we call pass-through search. Pass-through search allows us as a user, an on-premises user, to go find data that's outside of that 4-week data synchronization. So if I need to find a message that Alan sent me from 3 months ago, I'll be able to find it while on the go with Outlook Mobile. What happens behind the scenes is Exchange Online initiates a search request through the Active Sync protocol to your on-premises server. The on-premises server collates all that data, sends it back over the Active Sync connection to Exchange Online. Exchange Online shows you the data on your mobile device. And then we will retain that data to simplify further search experiences for one day. So that in the event that I need to search for Alan again within a 24-hour period, we don't have to make that expensive call back to on-prem and obtain that data again. We can make it faster for the user. What does this connection process look like? There are a lot of steps, a lot of things going, and this is where we'll talk about some of those namespace endpoints. First and foremost, there is another service we have in the Microsoft Cloud that I didn't talk about before that's used, and that's what we refer to as Auto Detect. This is a feature that was first developed for Outlook Mobile. It is now being baked into Outlook for Mac and Outlook Desktop, and allows you to have connectivity so that we can determine where your mailbox exists within the environment. Is it an Office 365 mailbox? Is it an on-premises mailbox? Is it a third-party mailbox, etc.? What happens is that the client connects to our Auto Detect service and determines our user type. In this case, we know we're an on-premises user. Exchange Online, we will do a request to Exchange Online. Exchange Online, Auto Discover, tells us the user's on-prem. We get a redirect to the on-premises Auto Discover namespace. We're going to do an anonymous connection to that Auto Discover namespace, passing in 2 variables, the SMTP address of that user and the Active Sync protocol endpoint. Auto Discover is going to issue a challenge response that tells us this is the namespace you need to talk to, the Active Sync on-premises namespace. Auto Detect is then going to attempt an anonymous connection to the Active Sync on-premises endpoint. with an authorization bearer empty challenge request. That authorization bearer challenge request tells the on-premises ActiveSync protocol that this client supports OAuth as an authentication mechanism. ActiveSync will issue a 401 response back to the auto-detect service saying, hey, you need to authenticate, but here's where you should authenticate via a www-authenticate header that tells us the OAuth endpoint we should go talk to. That OAuth endpoint will be an Azure Active Directory instance. The client will then attempt to connect to that Azure Active Directory endpoint. We'll do our authentication flow. We will eventually get back an access token pair, our first access token pair. That access token pair will then be used to connect through the stateless protocol translator service to access the data that's stored in Exchange Online through the provisioning API. Our provisioning API does two things at that point. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to do an on-behalf request to request another access token pair. That second access token pair will then be used to connect to the on-premises environment utilizing OAuth to synchronize the data behind the scenes from on-prem back to Exchange Online. The provisioning API's second main function is to determine if a mailbox already exists for this user. If a mailbox doesn't exist, it will create it. Otherwise, it will just allow connectivity to the data that's already within Exchange Online. From an authentication process, I'll go in a little more detail here. Oh, one last thing I forgot. The ActiveSync endpoint. So when we do this synchronization on ActiveSync, the one key thing that we have to make sure that we do is allow the ActiveSync connection from Exchange Online to on-prem. How many of you use Exchange Device Access Rules or allow block quarantine? So those of you that do, there's a new device type that you have to allow, which is the Outlook service. This will ensure that Exchange Online can connect to your on-premises environment and synchronize the data. From an authentication process, I've kind of explained it already in detail with the prior slide, but this goes in a little bit more detail about what we're doing with those multiple access token pairs. The process is relatively the same for a federated identity. We're going to hit Azure Active Directory. We're going to get a redirect to on-prem. On-prem's going to authenticate that user, issue a logon token. That logon token is going to be provided back to the client, which is then going to provide that to Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory will generate our first access token pair. That access token pair has an audience URI endpoint specifying Exchange Online. That access token, refresh token pair, is then passed to our stateless protocol translator service, which will then pass that to Exchange Online. The provisioning API then generates a second access token pair on behalf, using the first access token pair on behalf of capabilities. That second access token pair has an audience URI scope to the on-premises endpoint, the ActiveSync endpoint URL that we retrieve through the auto-detect service. We will then connect. The client's going to connect, gain his access to his data, and behind the scenes, the provisioning API, which is nothing more than the mailbox replication service in Exchange Online, is going to be establishing an ActiveSync session to on-prem to synchronize that data. And behind the scenes, we're going to use the refresh token to continually refresh and generate a new access token when it expires so that we can continue synchronizing that data without requiring the user to authenticate. Now, where are we in this process? Because obviously we haven't announced it until today and me on stage. We're currently in a preview program for this architecture that we've just discussed. We're in pre-production phase right now. In the next week or two, I'm probably going to open it up for production validation. We would love to have more customers. So if you are a hybrid customer, you are Exchange 2013 or Exchange 2016, and you want to take advantage of Outlook Mobile on premises and take advantage of the features that Daniel's going to talk about shortly, we would love to have you in this program. You can see me or Daniel later, or have your account team contact us directly, and you'll be able to get access to this feature set and be able to use it before we make it publicly available. Sound good? Everybody's going to join up? Excellent. So what happens if you aren't a hybrid customer? and you're on premises. Can you use Outlook Mobile today? And the answer is yes. You get to use Outlook Mobile today. You just use it in a different way. So we have what I refer to as the legacy cloud architecture for on-premises. This was in Amazon Web Services. It is no longer in Amazon Web Services. Is that a good thing? Yes. All active on-premises users that use Outlook Mobile today are now have their data located in Azure, specifically in North America or Europe, depending on where their client IP is connecting from. European IPs connect to Azure in the European data centers. All other IPs connect to our North America region. This architecture is exactly like what we had in Amazon Web Services. Nothing here has fundamentally changed. We still connect to, we have a front-end infrastructure that handles our device notifications and our client traffic, and then we have our back-end infrastructure that does our protocol translation to get to and manages our active sync connections to synchronize the data into our cache within Azure. This is the architecture that uses basic credentials. It doesn't use OAuth, so therefore we don't have any advanced capability there, no multi-factor auth support, no Intune support. We cache the credentials. Nothing there has changed fundamentally from this architecture. That's why we want to move you to the hybrid architecture, so we can take advantage of all those great things that the cloud provides us with OAuth and Intune capabilities. The limitations are still the same here. We don't support sending back a remote wipe command to Exchange on-prem in this case. It's a single device ID shared across all connections. We don't support Intune or OAuth. And if you want to know more information about how we store those basic credentials, we have a great white paper on TechNet that explains it. And without further ado, I'm going to allow Daniel to talk about EMS.
Thanks, Ross. Good morning. So I'm from the Intune team. We've had the opportunity to partner for the last 2 years very closely on how we can add further data protection support to Outlook Mobile, and for good reason. So based on a lot of the customers we've talked to from the Intune perspective, email is really the roadmap in terms of end users accessing company data on a mobile device. That's almost always the first workflow the end users do when they pick up a new device or they join a company. Is they log in and they try to get access to their email, because so much of the business is driven by email, messaging, calendar, et cetera. Our telemetry bears that out. We're going to talk a lot about the MAM stuff a little bit later, but we get very deep usage telemetry, and on 87% of our devices that are connecting every day, they're using Outlook. So it's really a big part of our business and what we offer from a data protection perspective to help keep your data safe. So let's look at a couple different scenarios that EMS and Intune can enable for email. The first one, when we look at a mobile device, is around how we protect access to the data in the first place. This mobile device is connecting over the internet to your highly sensitive information. What are we doing to help make sure that's coming from a safe, healthy, well-known device? And that's where features like conditional access come in. It lets us put a series of checks and controls before that end device can access your data. Another thing that we can do is give you tools to help manage the device itself. So make sure that that device is conformant to the restrictions, controls that you want to deploy out for your enterprise. The last scenario is around what we can do at the app level, or even more deeply at the account level, so that we can protect the data as it exists in the app and at runtime to make sure it's not leaking out of your enterprise. So let's go through these scenarios in a bit more detail, and then we'll show both the admin experience for those if you're not familiar, and the end user experience, and we'll do a quick demo at the end. So when we look at conditional access, I'll start with a question like Ross likes to. How many people are using conditional access today? Okay, so a good number. So for you guys, this might be a little bit of a review. I'll show you some of the things that are coming in preview if you haven't seen those yet. And then for the rest of you that haven't used it yet, I strongly encourage you to take a look afterwards. We have a really nice and simple trial experience. So even if you're not an EMS customer today, you can kind of kick the tires on this and see how it would work in your organization. So looking at conditional access, we talked about that being as a kind of a gate before you can even get access to the data on the local device. And we give you a lot of flexibility on how you can control that access. And as you can see on the slide, we've got a bunch here. Let me give you a couple examples. So let's say that you wanted to make sure that only certain devices of an IP range could access it. You know, you've got users in a certain locale that you wanted to either allow or block. You can do that with conditional access. Another really common thing that we see people do is wanting to make sure the device itself is compliant with your IT controls. And that's really, from an Intune perspective, the biggest part that we play in the conditional access workflow, making sure that that device is under management and is compliant with the device management policies that you've specified for it. So like it shows here, there's a bunch of different controls that you can have or conditions before you can allow an action to take place. What are those actions? Some of the most common actions is to say, yes, they can access the data. They've gone through the gate, they've met all your requirements, let the email data flow down to that device. Another one you can do is say, oh, well, maybe when we want to, for certain conditions, like a high-risk condition. And one example, a common example of a high-risk condition is we've noticed that the user logged in, say, in Orlando, and then within a few seconds or a few minutes, they see that the same user logs in from Tokyo. Really unlikely that that user traveled all that way in just a few minutes. So you can say, okay, well, this is maybe a high-risk scenario. We really want to make sure it's that user before you allow them to access the data. And that's where something like you could add MFA to that and say, give it another level of authentication before you release the data to that user and device. The last thing you can do is block. So maybe you're still rolling things out within your organization and you want to allow it for mobile devices, but you really don't want to do browser access quite yet. One of the options you could do is say, hey, if they're trying to connect from a browser experience, we really don't even want them to do that. So you can use conditional access to block that access during the authentication flow before the data is even hitting that endpoint or that end user device. So let's move ahead a little bit and talk about specifically for Outlook in your mailboxes, how does conditional access apply when you pull Intune into the picture? And there's two main scenarios. One is around device management. We talked a little bit on the last slide about this, but it's really around being able to make sure that device is healthy and it's conformant with your company's policies before you allow access. And from an underlying kind of mechanical perspective, what that means is it's been enrolled in Intune under management, and that device is reporting itself back to our service as compliant. And so when those authentication requests come in from Outlook Mobile, user@company.com types it in and they're trying to authenticate, our backend cloud services are talking to each other. So that authentication request is going to go through AAD, Azure Active Directory, and it's going to say, hey, Intune, is this person really supposed to be able to get email access right now? Are they kind of passing all the conditional access checks? And we say, yep, they're all set, or no, they're not. And if they're not, then it doesn't allow it through. Another thing that we can do, which we see customers starting to use more and more, is around making sure that it's actually connecting from the Outlook mobile device. So today you have a couple options. You can say, hey, I want to still allow EAS connections. That's fine. But I still want it to come from a managed device. That's device conditional access. But you may want to say, no. I really want it to have the MAM controls baked into that email client. So I really want it to be Outlook mobile that's connecting. And that's where the app conditional access in. We give you another control that allows you to say it's not only got to be on a managed device, you can also be the Outlook mobile app itself. So let's look at that in a little bit more detail on how you actually set this up. And so I promise for the folks that are already using Intune, there's a couple little nuggets of things that are in preview that we'll talk about so you can see how that's going to work. But for the rest of you that aren't, this will be a good kind of reference material when you go back and you want to try this when you get back from Orlando. So there's 4 main steps. We're going to go through those in detail. This is here just again for your reference. So let me skip ahead to those 4 main steps. So the first thing you got to do is you have to log into Intune. And for those of you who may have used Intune in the past, you've seen quite a transformation over the last few months. All of EMS has moved to a consolidated framework for how we manage your enterprise cloud instance. And we call that Azure Portal. And we have a consistent model that allows you to seamlessly transition between our different products from that single pane of glass. So what we're going to see here actually mixes Intune and AAD management surfaces, but as we go through the slides, you'll see it doesn't look like you're transitioning between products. We really tried to blur that line so that you can focus on what the management workflow is and not on whether this is an Intune product or an AIP product or an AAD product. All right, so let's go through this. So when you first log into Intune, you're going to be presented with a bunch of different actions that you can take. One of those is conditional access, so you click on that one. When you go into there, if you're new to the product, the first thing you want to do is add the policy. Pretty simple, straightforward. It gives you some background on what you need to set up before you get started, and you want to follow those steps before you go add that policy. When you add that policy, this model is pretty consistent with what we do in Intune, but as I mentioned, this is actually kind of an AAD workflow. This is hosted through AAD Premium. And what you see on the left-hand column here is all the different conditions that you can specify for how conditional access will govern the flow of email down to that device. The most common one that you'll have to start with is saying, okay, well, which users is this going to apply to? As you can see on the slide here, that's what I've shown, is I've said, hey, this should apply to me so that my email is going to be protected with conditional access. The next thing that we often see people do in kind of the most basic implementation of conditional access for email is decide what conditions you want to be applied such that you can say when you want to grant access to that email flow, what has to be satisfied. And what you can see here is that you can do device CA, which we've talked about, and the app CA. And one of the things that's new for existing customers is that we will soon, it's in preview now and it will soon be generally available, you can choose both. So if your security posture requires for certain user groups you want the device to be both managed and email access to be restricted to just the Outlook mobile application, you can now do both of those on a single device for a single user. So that's a change that we've heard a lot of customers ask for, and we're pleased to say that that's going to be available very soon. Great, so we looked at the admin experience. Let's quickly go at the end user experience. And so this is actually part of the team that I work on more closely. Within Intune, I work on our client-side experiences, focusing on MAM, but we work very closely with the MDM folks as well. One of the things that we've heard loud and clear from you guys is that we need to make sure that the end user experience is as simple as possible to reduce the support calls, right? Rolling these things out and having a huge spike in your help desk call volume isn't a good thing. So we've tried to give end user guidance such that they can work through these on their own without having to file a support ticket. So there's a couple main things that they're going to see when conditional access is applied to them from any email client. The first thing is they're going to get a single message in their email inbox. Regardless of new employee, existing employee, they all get that one message that tells them how to get started and how to work through the enrollment flow. The second thing that they'll see is they'll need to get the Intune company portal, and that's our MDM enrollment on-ramp. It's kind of a hub for all things enterprise for the end user. And that will actually guide them through the steps that they need to take to get compliant in order to get access to email or their SharePoint sites, et cetera. The last thing that I wanted to show here is actually looking at the app CA. So if you do really want to require the Outlook mobile app, which I suspect since you're all using it, you will, you can actually make sure that if they try to log in with another client, in this case it was native email on iOS, that they're informed that, hold, you can't connect with this app anymore. You really need to go to Outlook Mobile, follow these instructions to get started. Okay, so that's conditional access. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about both the device and the application protections that we offer. So how many of you guys are using MDM today, Intune MDM today? Okay, awesome. Keep it up. How many of you guys are using Intune MAM today? Okay, a little bit less. And so these are not an either-or option. We have a lot of customers that mix and match all permutations of these. They have some highly locked down devices that do MDM and MAM. They have some, maybe BYOD devices that they want to allow a little bit more flexibility for the end user, and they do what we call our MAM without enrollment or MAM-we scenario, where you don't have to enroll the device, but you still get those app-level protections. So let's talk a little bit about what these protections are. On the MDM side, we have full support for both mobile and traditional PC-style devices, both Windows and Macs. And these use the capabilities that are built into each of the underlying platforms. And Intune has a rich management experience that allows you to set up, configure, et cetera, those devices through a full enrollment of that device. On the MAM side of things, we've changed things up a little bit based on a lot of feedback that we got a few years ago from customers that said, look, we don't want the liability of a full device management, or we have end users that have balked at trying to have IT control over their full device when they own it and they have their personal data on that device. So we built out the Intune app protection policies, or under the umbrella of MAM, we call it, that allows you to target those controls specifically to applications or user accounts within those applications without affecting the other accounts that may be present on a personal device. We're going to dive into a lot of this on the next slide, but one of the other things that isn't kind of core to the app protection policies but lives under our MAM umbrella is app configuration. For those of you guys that are using MDM, you might be familiar with this today. Apple supports this with their MDM stack. Android for Work supports it as well. We got a lot of feedback from customers that said, hey, that's great. That allows me to do some basic per app setup, but we need that without enrollment as well. So we've added that with our MAM support, and actually Outlook uses it, and I think we'll be announcing real soon. I know it's out there today, but we'll be announcing real soon. That's one of the ways you can control things like which fields in your contacts will sync to that device, which is important for some of our customers. So let's look at what you can do with MAM if you're not using it today. And so let's bucketize this a little bit. The first thing is around giving you controls for an additional protection on access to that company data in the application itself. So we've got a bunch of different ways you can do that to verify their identity. One of the most common things people like to do is they turn on a PIN, a per app PIN, and they allow the biometrics, so like Touch ID on iOS, before the user can access the corporate data within Outlook Mobile. The second bucket is around data transfer controls, and I see there's a weird little formatting there, but the idea with data transfer controls is we try to make sure that you have the knobs and dials to define where your organizational data can go from a managed application. And we do that both app to app, so this would be the common transfers like OpenIn or the share extensions on iOS, Intents on Android, that allow you to move data from one app to another. We also do it app to services. We give you controls that allow you to say that for any of your corporate data, they can only save it to OneDrive for Business, as an example, to make sure that they're not putting it in a personal cloud storage provider. We also do things like copy-paste, which we're going to show in just a few minutes in the demo, both across apps and within applications when we look at the multi-identity scenarios. Next one is around data protection. And often this is the core of what a lot of customers are really looking for when they start thinking about MAM. Okay, I've got all this org data out there. Once I've said that it's going to be accessed from a healthy and compliant device, I really want to make sure it doesn't leak beyond that device. So we focus that one primarily on encryption at rest. So when that device is locked on both platforms, that information is going to be encrypted and protected so that it can't be accessed from an unknown, undesirable source. We also do some additional admin actions around selective wipe. This is, if you're familiar with the MDM support, you can typically do a factory reset or a full removal of all the information that you've pushed down to that device. From a MAM perspective, we go one level further, where you can remove a specific account and all the organizational data associated with that account without disturbing any unmanaged or personal accounts within that application. And we give you a bunch of different remote tools and timers, et cetera, to allow you to really fine-tune how that's going to work. The last one is an important one because it is unique to what we offer, and it is really important to the Outlook Mobile scenario, given that email typically has multiple accounts added to it. We allow you to separate your org or work data from your personal data, and we only apply those controls to the work data. And we'll show that in the demo in the next few minutes. So let's talk a little bit about the admin experience here and how you set that up. So as you can see on the slide, the landing page is the same Intune landing page. We're going to start in the same place. We're going to go look at managing apps, and then we're going to dive into the app protection policies. If you want to look at those app configuration items, like you want to say control the notes field for Outlook Mobile, that would be under the app configuration that's right above where it's highlighted on the screen. But the general workflow is the same. You're just going to start by adding a policy. You're going to determine how it's going to apply, which applications. In this case, we've chosen Outlook Mobile. And then you're going to go through all those controls I just talked about and choose the ones that make sense to you. One of the things that we've done in our defaults is we've really relaxed the defaults to a pretty basic state. And that means you're going to want to go through these and make sure that you've turned on the controls that make sense for your organization. If you want cut, copy, paste, if you want the data transfer controls, review these settings. We've got great documentation, tooltips, et cetera, and really tweak it to what you need for your organization. And the last piece, once you've created that policy itself, you've got to go target it out to an end user. And you can see here I've targeted it out to a user group that includes myself. So pretty simple, pretty consistent across both conditional access and the man pieces. So this is here for your reference. I'm going to go show it to you quickly in a demo, and then we'll loop back to Ross, and he's going to wrap it up with both the comparison to EAS controls as well as the roadmap for Outlook. Okay, so let me just quickly flip this guy over here. So this is on an iOS device that is up here somewhere.
Here it is.
There it is. Thank you. All right, so there we go. All right, so you can see here, just a standard iOS 11 device. I've got Outlook Mobile loaded on it. First thing I need to do is I need to access the app, right? And so I've got to put in my PIN because we've configured that to put an access control on the app level. So I'm going to just go in with Touch ID. You can see all my org data is here. And I also have multiple accounts here. So I have my Intune account here as well as a personal account on that application. So let's go back to the Intune managed account. So I have this company email here, and you can see it's got a lot of very important information in it. So one of the things I'm going to do, if I can get it to work, let me go and do that again. I want to copy this. There we go. Select all, copy. So one of the most common leak vectors that we've heard from customers is just end user mistake. They copy something, they didn't think about it, and they put it in a location that wasn't one of the approved company locations. So let's see how Intune helps protect that. So I'm going to go to Notes. Notes is not protected in any way, and I'm going to try to paste. So now the end user is clearly informed what the policy was and what they can't do. And it's not confusing, oh, it didn't paste, or what happened here, and your data is protected. So let's look at that same scenario within the Outlook mobile app, because cross-app, okay, well, that's clearly an Intune thing, but what about multi-identity scenarios? So let's go create a new email here. I'm going to change the firm address to be my personal account, and I'm going to try to paste that again. And it also tells me here I can't paste it here even within the app because of that multi-identity support. Okay, so let's say, okay, well, now I figured it out. I really meant to send that from my work account. So I'm going to go change that back to the work account, and I'm just going to do the same paste operation here. And now that the data is actually presented within the application as I intended. So you can say, okay, great, that looks really simple. It's cut, copy, paste. It tells the user what's going on. But let's say the user was really trying to leak the data. Well, maybe they want to go send it from their personal account so it doesn't go through. But they can't do that either. And that's part of the partnership that we've had with the Outlook mobile team to make sure that not only can you protect app to app, but you can protect across accounts within the Outlook mobile app. Great. So Ross, if you want to come back up, and you can finish up on the EAS controls.
Isn't that pretty cool how you can protect your data? Awesome. So what happens if you don't have EMS in play? Or maybe you do have EMS and you want to know how does Exchange policies play into this? And that's what we're going to cover now. So first and foremost, if you don't have EMS, we do provide mobile access policy capability through Exchange. And with Outlook Mobile, we support pin lock capability so that you can force down a device pin onto the device and ensure that the data is protected from that perspective, just like an ActiveSync device does. We do, with Outlook Mobile, have only support for explicit configurations around device pin, most notably pin length and that it's a simple pin. You can also have Intune, as Daniel's mentioned, provide either a device pin at the MDM layer by doing an MDM enrollment at the device, or you can use Intune app protection to provide an app level pin as he demoed. And there's the example of the scenarios. If you're using just Exchange policies, you get that iOS passcode required option when you launch Outlook for the first time and add your account, or you get the Intune scenario depending if you're MDM enrolled or just Intune app protection enrolled. We also support device encryption at the Exchange layer as well. For iOS, it's fairly simple. Apple enforces encryption whenever a device pin is required on the device, which, as you know, when you set up a basic Apple device these days, it pretty much forces you to do one, to do Touch ID. So by default, pretty much most Apple devices I would say, are probably encrypted as a result of just that simple thing. Android's a little more complex, as we all know and love about Android. Depending on the Android version, we have different capabilities. If it's Android 7.0 or later, we can enforce device encryption through a mobile device policy with Exchange. If it's Android 6.0 or older, we can only provide a recommendation to the user. The user has the capability to opt out. And that's just due to the underlying encryption architecture that Android chose to implement. So definitely upgrade to Android 7.0 or later if you want to enforce device encryption at the Exchange layer. As Daniel mentioned, Intune does also provide a mechanism to do encryption as well. Through conditional access, we can enforce things like that. We can force it at MDM enrollment. If you're doing only Intune app protection, you can enforce encryption of the app data itself to ensure that that corporate data is encrypted. We do that for iOS. We use the built-in iOS encryption stack, which Apple certifies as FIPS 140-2 compliant. For Android, we do it a little differently. We built our own encryption stack, and we encrypt content during basic file I/O operations when we're accessing that particular data stack. So how does this all look? If you want to do a comparison of should I use Exchange or should I use Intune to provide device security? As you can see from this table, you don't get much from Exchange. Exchange provides the bare basic essentials: simple pin, pin length, device encryption, and a remote wipe. And I think it's important also to call out with remote wipe, Exchange ActiveSync, Jim, help me out, 16.1? Yes, 16.1 includes app-level remote wipe and device-level remote wipe. There's a key difference there. Outlook Mobile is considered a physical, from an Exchange perspective, Outlook Mobile appears as a physical device. So we only support device wipe. What that does when you initiate a remote wipe request in Exchange is wipe the app data within Outlook Mobile. It doesn't wipe the physical device, because Outlook Mobile is presented to Exchange as a device, not the actual physical device. It's a logical versus physical scenario. Now, what happens if both are in play? So this greatly depends. So we did something a little differently than most ActiveSync clients with Exchange Online. With Exchange Online, when we go and coordinate and authenticate that user, one of the first things that Exchange Online does is call out to the Graph API to see if the device is Intune managed. And we get back a response. For most ActiveSync devices, that's where Exchange stops. If it gets back a response that says, yes, device is Intune managed, device is compliant, etc., Exchange doesn't apply any of the device policies. It just allows the device to connect because Intune is forcing those device policies. And we just got back a status that said device is compliant. Outlook Mobile took it a step further and said, well, we should do a little bit more. And we should ensure that the Exchange policy is also applied if need be, just in case there is a configuration difference. Now, the key thing to remember is that in the event that you have both configured, let's say a PIN applied, the more restrictive setting will always take place. So if I have an Exchange mobile device policy that says I'm only going to enforce a 4-digit PIN on the device, and we have configured in Intune for that MDM enrolled device that we're going to require a 6-digit PIN, then we will force down on that device that it must use a 6-digit PIN for device access. Make sense? Excellent. So which one should you use? Intune. The other thing around this is device access. So we talked about device policy, the encryption and PIN settings, but we didn't talk about device access, what we refer to as allow block quarantine type of rules. Obviously, if you're an Intune customer, what happens is when the device authenticates against Exchange Online, we call on that Graph API. Outlook Mobile, in this case, is treated like every other other ActiveSync clients. Once we call on the Graph API and find out the device is Intune managed, we don't apply any of the Exchange device access policies. We allow the device or deny the device based on what Intune says, not based on what Exchange is configured to do in that case. So Intune is the authoritative source for applying device access capability when you're using Intune, not Exchange. If you're not using Intune and you want to use device access policies or allow block quarantine rule, then these are the characteristics we support: device model, device type, and user agent. Device model and device type haven't changed over the years. We did make a change when we announced the cloud architecture for Office 365 accounts, and that is we segregated Outlook for iOS and Outlook for Android via the user agent, so that if you wanted to block Android devices and be an iOS-only shop, you could do that through a device access rule in Exchange. You can also do that in Intune if you wanted to as well. If you're going down the route of our hybrid architecture for on-premises, you will use Intune to provide all that device management capability. And if you're the legacy architecture route, because you're not in hybrid for on-premises, then you will use the device access rule within Exchange on-prem, specifically the device model or device type, because the user agent is the same for iOS and Android in the legacy architecture. The other key thing I'll call out here is you'll notice I don't talk about device ID here. How many of you guys are using device ID specifically in your allow block quarantine states? You shouldn't. If you want to use device IDs, use Intune. Don't do it at the Exchange layer. So with Outlook Mobile, one of the things about Outlook Mobile is that when the app is installed and connected to our infrastructure, we generate a device ID. That device ID is distinct and different from the physical device ID. And there are scenarios where we will reset and generate a new device ID. Great example, you're an Outlook for Android user and you accidentally uninstalled the Outlook app. When you install a new one, we generate a new device ID. We don't ever guarantee that, that we will use the same device ID to connect to Exchange. We will guarantee that Intune always has the same device ID for that particular connection. So if you want to do device-specific management, you should use Intune, not device access policies in Exchange Online or Exchange On-Prem. And as you saw in the hybrid architecture, the client never physically connects to the on-premises environment. Exchange Online does. So in that scenario, you wouldn't be able to use a device ID either. You would have to go through the Intune route for device management. Last but not least, client access rules. How many of you know what client access rules are? Okay, that's more hands than I expected. For those that don't know, though, client access rules is a feature we originally developed in the Exchange Online dedicated space, and we're now rolling out to the general multi-tenant service. Client access rules allow you to control access to the individual protocol session to Exchange. So like you didn't want to allow EWS from EWS access, wow, you could control that at an IP level to Exchange Online or MAPI HTTP. Because we use the REST protocol between Azure and Exchange Online, for those of you that are using client access rules, you need to ensure that you set up a client access rule that allows the REST protocol to connect. Now, I will say there are some stipulations there. Notice I don't have anything about IP address ranges or anything because we're not providing which particular Azure IP addresses ranges we could be using because it's all within the Microsoft Cloud, and we expect one Microsoft Cloud identity to talk to another identity within the service. So it has to be a generic access rule like I've specified here. Now, in terms of what do client access rules provide, as I mentioned, it's an Exchange Online specific feature. It does protocol session management. If you really wanted to get into a conditional access type of approach, that's where you should be investing in Azure Conditional Access, because you get a wealth of different capabilities. You get MFA capabilities, whether it's a device support, location or IP range support on where the device is connecting from and what you do if it's connecting from a IP address outside of an approved location. And it supports a far greater cloud service set than Exchange Client Access Rules support. So definitely focus on conditional access if you want to take advantage of those type of capabilities, not the Exchange Client Access Rules. And with that, we actually have 4 minutes left. So what we can do is we can show the roadmap slide and start taking questions. How's that sound? If you have questions. Otherwise, we'll just keep on chatting away. You guys have gotten quiet. All right, we got some questions.
So we love the Outlook app, but when creating new mailboxes, we would like to have Active Sync automatically disabled. We can connect, whoops. Currently we go in and have PowerShell just go set mailbox and then disable Outlook. Disable Active Sync. We would, could there be a switch in the, like say, new mailbox command that says Active Sync disabled?
Well, with Exchange Online, you can set up a mailbox plan that does that, right? Guys, over here? Okay, they're going to ignore me. They don't know the answer. I believe you can do that through mailbox plans in Exchange Online, but I'm not positive since they're all like, oh, what's a mailbox plan? If not, you would have to script it. But the key thing to think about there is that Active Sync and Outlook Mobile, 2 separate things. Disabling Active Sync won't disable Outlook Mobile access. Okay. Yep. Lots of
back
questions.
there were first.
Ah, okay.
All right, 2 quick questions. First off, the app has come a long way, so congratulations to the team. We're really impressed with it. First question is, are there plans for support of subfolders of contacts in the app? It's a deal breaker for us right now.
So we actually are still looking at what our next steps are for contact management and what we want to do. Subfolders has been one that has come up from like 1 or 2 sources, but it hasn't been a super common ask. And so I really would encourage you to go to our user voice site, and also telling me now that that contact subfolders are a really important feature.
We've
is
been
really
up there, and
helpful.
we do see there are other people asking for it besides us on user voice.
Yeah, you know, people have come to us and said not having contact management is a blocker, not being able to add and edit contacts, but no one has come to us thus far and said that it's actually a blocker for them to not have subfolder sync. So if you don't mind, I'd love to chat with you later so I can make sure I understand the scenario that you're trying,
Absolutely.
that you guys use it for. That'll really help.
And then the second question is, with regards to the app, one of the feedback points, I don't want to call it a complaint from our users, is on the iPhone. I don't know if the Android does it too, and I see it myself. In the app, I'll say like, see 9 new messages on my app, but when I go in there, I have to wait for it to update. Is there plans to improve that?
Yeah, so making sure that the performance between when you get that notification and when you actually see it in the app is faster is one of the key metrics that we look at and that we're working on speeding up. So I think that there was actually an issue recently with iOS that we've been improving, and so I think you'll be seeing improvements to that one particularly. But it's something that we measure across both apps and are always looking at, because as you can tell, it's one of the most frustrating, like, obvious performance problems. So thank you for the feedback.
Thank you.
Should we take one from over there?
Yes.
Hi. Are there any plans for third-party MDM management of the Outlook mobile apps?
We don't currently have plans to support third-party MDMs providers. We have a really great partnership with the Intune team, and we believe that we can provide sort of the best end-to-end experience with Intune MDM plus MAM, and so that's where we're focused at the moment. If those plans change, we'll definitely be announcing it and talking about it, but right now that's not in plan.
Okay, thanks.
One thing that you can do today is that, as I said, you can kind of mix and match MDM and MAM. So what we have some customers doing that have large-scale deployments of another MDM solution today is that you can do that solution for device management in Intune MAM to manage Outlook Mobile. And you can do that on the same device for the same user. Okay. So that is an option that some customers have chosen as they think about how they're going to migrate the device management over to Intune.
The other thing I was going to mention is that because we offer all this capability through the Graph API, that third-party MDM solutions can integrate with Intune.
Yep.
And provide that. Of course, that still requires an Intune license for each user. AirWatch, for example, announced that at VMworld.
Okay, thanks. One other question. Is there any plans for Skype or team meeting scheduling integration so you don't have to go to a separate app to schedule those meetings?
So we do have a way to set up Skype for Business meetings right now within the app. So I don't know if you saw it when I was creating the calendar invite, there was a little Skype link right there.
Oh, okay.
You just turn it on and so that works. We don't currently have an ETA for when we'll have Teams meetings integration, but I'm sure it'll be something that's coming as the Skype for Business, Teams meetings, things gets sort of sorted out.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hi.
We're over here.
Okay.
This gentleman was next.
So I heard you mention earlier about Outlook Mobile and device wipe. Specifically, we're interested in like a selective device wipe, so we're not blowing away the whole phone. Could you confirm again what's the minimum requirements at the Exchange level? Is it Exchange 2016 requirement for that?
No. We support device wipe. All device wipes for Outlook Mobile will only wipe the Outlook Mobile data with Exchange. The difference is that the 16.1 ActiveSync protocol, which shipped in 2016,
Okay.
and yes, one of the CUs and in Exchange Online now supports app-level wipe and device wipe, so that if you were, for example, using the native Mail client on iOS, you could just wipe the data in the native Mail client instead of wiping the whole app, the whole device. Outlook, as it represents itself as a device, thinks that it's doing a full device wipe, but is only wiping the app itself.
So I understand that. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Did you want to?
Awesome, love the app. I'm wondering, are you guys looking at adding shared mailboxes to the app at all?
That's a really great question. So we focused first on shared and delegate calendars because that was the higher value scenario that we were hearing more frequently. Since shipping or announcing that, I've heard more requests for shared mailboxes than anything else almost. So we don't currently have an ETA for it, but it's something that we're definitely looking at, and we'll keep you posted. Keep an eye on the Office blog. That's where we'll be announcing things.
Thank you.
Should we take one more question, and then
Yeah.
we're happy to answer questions after after the talk. Can we go here?
I heard something referenced about contact syncing.
Yep.
Is that syncing to the native contact so that you have caller ID and such now?
Correct, yes. So on Android, we support now two-way full contact sync to the local device. On iOS, we support one-way contact push so that it does push the contacts into the local device so that it works for your text messages and you don't end up having strangers text you. But we don't have two-way contact sync on iOS due to iOS limitations. You can sync your address book down. So one of the things I didn't get a chance to demo was being able to add, create, edit contacts and be able to sync those down to the device. So it's not taking your whole directory gal or anything like that and syncing that to your device, but it is taking any of your contacts.
And that's available now?
That is available now, yes. Awesome.
For Exchange Online mailboxes.
Thank you for Exchange Online mailboxes. We're working on it for on-prem.
Yes.
All right, thank you guys so much for coming. And if you have further questions, we'll be at the booth over the course of the day. We'll also be hanging out here for a little while. We're happy to answer.
Thank you.